I'm giving away this championship belt once I hit 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe today. Welcome back to the Angle Show. I, of course, am Angle. We got a big one for you guys. I want to talk about Velveteen Dream. There was a big rumor that came out. Boozer Wrestling, BWE, came out and said there was like this talk of Velveteen Dream visiting the Performance Center multiple times, potentially going to rehab, things like that. Fightful Select then came out and said, look, like, we haven't seen or heard anything about this. I'm sure it's possible, but not from what they've heard. And then obviously Velveteen Dream came out on social media and basically denied it and rejected it. Boozer came out and then clarified that he was happy that Velveteen Dream came out and, clarified the report. But that was it. So this is probably the first big loss that Boozer has had reporting. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't want to see Velveteen Dream back in the WWE. I think there's a lot of reasons as to why I don't want to see him back in the WWE. Keep in mind, I made a short a long time ago about how Velveteen Dream was never expected to be back in WWE. And look, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. WWE has a crop of talent. They don't need Velveteen Dream. If he's in rehab, great. If he's not in rehab, if this guy's doing good, great. If he's not doing good, hopefully he starts doing good. I don't know. I want obviously the best for everybody, but there's just a lot of stuff that happened with Velveteen Dream that I think could be very off-putting for WWE. And it's one of those situations where I don't know if it makes a lot of sense for WWE to bring him in, let alone when you look at the product of NXT and everything. I don't think people will respond kindly to Velveteen Dream. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people need to realize here is that the Performance Center and the audience, they're very well aware of all the drama surrounding Velveteen Dream. And WWE tried bringing him back at one point on TV, and it was met with a very negative reaction. So you're doing a disservice to Velveteen Dream. You're doing a disservice to your fans. You're doing a disservice to your product, your company. So it looks like there is no expectation for Velveteen Dream to return to the company, which I would say overall is a good thing. And that brings us to our next topic, which is Brock Lesnar, because there has been a lot of talk about Brock Lesnar and whether or not he actually shows up to WWE. We know that Brock Lesnar, last time he wrestled was against Cody Rhodes. There was talks that maybe Brock Lesnar would be back in time for Survivor Series. And obviously Survivor Series is next month. And there's been no mention of Brock Lesnar coming back. And then to make things very interesting is that Ringside News had actually came out, and they've come out with a report suggesting that they were not able to confirm that Brock Lesnar is, coming back for Crown Jewel, which typically Brock Lesnar is built up and brought in for matches at Saudi Arabia. And that could not, that might be something that could not happen this year. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Brock Lesnar is a hell of a talent. Obviously, a big fan of Brock Lesnar. But at the same time, too, WWE is focusing on quality matches and quality storylines going into a pay-per-view. WWE is already starting to build out Crown Jewel. And if you put in Brock Lesnar, I think it's going to be a very short build. It's not going to be beneficial to the company for them to do that. And if I'm going to be completely transparent here, I want to see WWE use less of these big names unless it's like WrestleMania or SummerSlam or that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like WWE right now has a really, really good mixture of faces coming onto TV. I mean, you just got Dragon Lee on SmackDown and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Like they're all doing some cool stuff there with Santos and Ray. And then even on Raw, you got Bronson Reed and Gunther and Imperium and Chad Gable. And like you're starting to see a mixture of new faces on TV actually and relevant storylines. And that's a really, really good thing for the WWE right now. So if you bring in Brock Lesnar, you're kind of doing a disservice to the men and women in the locker room who are finally starting to get a chance to be on TV. I mean, DIY is actually on TV now, and like that's a great thing. But if you bring in Brock, then you have to take one less out, and I don't like that idea. I don't like that concept. I don't think it's beneficial to the WWE. I don't think it's helpful to the WWE, and in turn, I think it actually really puts fans away from the product at times. Even though we all love Brock Lesnar, I think a lot of fans do want to see new faces and new storylines and new matchups when you bring in Brock Lesnar. Unless it's Brock Lesnar going up against like a Chad Gable or a Gunther, it doesn't really make sense. I don't cover much from Ringside News on this channel, but sometimes they do get things right and they do put out reports. This is one that seems pretty realistic. Now, we'll see how true it is, but there has been a lot of rumblings that Brock Lesnar may only specifically be used for these major, major attraction matches, and I think that could be a really good thing for WWE if they play their cards right. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video, CM Punk. Guys, I put out a tweet. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please make sure you do. All I'm saying is when Cody was in AEW, every single day there were new reports about him staying or going to WWE. There was zero consistent, and I'll leave it at that. And that's pretty much all you need to know before I talk about CM Punk, because according to Dave Meltzer, it sounds like WWE turned down CM Punk. They were speaking, it was Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez. He says, yeah, they turned him down. Basically, from what it sounds like CM Punk wanted to go there, came to WWE. Vince, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, basically they all outweighed the negatives more than the positives, and then they decided they're going to pass up on him. You know, the reality is that I don't, and I'm not trying to discredit Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez or anybody on this matter, but I think we've learned a lot from Cody Rhodes and his situation, that when it comes to these signings, you cannot sit here and put any stock into any of the reports, whether they're accurate, whether they're not accurate. There was a lot of 50-50 reporting when it came to CM Punk returning, Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE. And that's why I have a very, very tough time looking and reading and listening to all of these different things, because we've seen this play out before where WWE was teasing Cody. Then Cody, there's reports that Cody is not going to be there, and then sure enough, WrestleMania happens, and Cody Rhodes is there. And it's the mixed reporting that happens that gets people to be very upset and bothered by it. And again, I don't think Dave Meltzer is maliciously doing this. I don't think he's intentionally trying to do anything. I think Dave Meltzer was fed some information where somebody's like, yeah, WWE decided not to bring him back. Guys, WWE sources, they're going to try to keep this a surprise. They're not going to try and leak this ahead of time. They're going to do everything to deter the reports from coming out. And I don't even know if they'll be successful with it, but it does make a lot of sense for them to have reports that come out. They say, no, it's not going to happen. WWE's against it. But you got to remember, WWE historically has always said, never say never. And if it makes sense for business, they're willing to do it. And I think this is one of those scenarios where I think it makes sense for business, and I think it makes sense for them to do it. And I think WWE is a totally different company than AEW, so the backstage drama probably ain't going to work. The morale is different backstage. People will make things happen. I wouldn't feed too much into the reports here, but if Dave Meltzer is accurate, then you can expect CM Punk not to be in WWE. But that's if he's accurate. Don't forget, I'm giving away this belt too once I hit 100K, so go ahead and click subscribe.